Shina Mabina, welcome to another episode of Bad Decision Works. I'm gonna build the Tjorven dolly frame to move the Tjorven around today. This episode's going to be quite a lot of cutting and grinding and angle grinder noises mostly. I cut out most most of the grinding, so it's just like the steps that I took to go from this Tjorven frame to a usable dolly. The reason that I cut it up and not just weld the wheels to the frame is because the frame is quite heavy. As it comes, so there's lots of like attachment points or brackets for the seats, for the springs, and you name it. And I don't need that. I just need something with wheels that the body can rest on, and that's it. So cutting away everything that's unnecessary. In total I used about, I think, if I recall correctly, about 8 grinding discs when cutting up this frame and building this dolly. So not a bad score. I have a disc from a brand SBS, not sure, I've never heard of it before. It's just like a deal I found online with some guy that sold a lot of them, and so I bought 100 so I can use them for a while. And they are like, I expected them to be cheap, and well, they were quite cheap, but also being cheap, was not that bad. They're quite okay. For a project that never was, I bought a set of 4 wheelbarrow wheels, which have air in the tires, so they're not solid tires. I found out the hard way that solid tires do not roll nicely on gravel, and as you can see in the background, my whole driveway is made of gravel. So I was kind of happy that I still had these normal wheelbarrow wheels laying around. But now that the frame is cut up all the way, it's time to attach the wheels to the frame. This is actually a little bit of a frame that I'm now cutting up. That was some kind of like a shipping crate that the car lift was shipped on. They were connected on both sides to these angle irons, and it's quite heavy. I think they're like 4 mil thick, so it's just quite heavy steel. So I decided to reuse this because it's free and it's good steel. So I'm going to reuse these as wheel stands, or wheel arms, or support arms, whatever you want to call it. We'll see what it becomes. trying to do as much of the grinding as possible outside of the workshop. It's quite cold, as you can see on my breath. It's around 1 or 2 degrees Celsius outside, but yeah, doing the grinding outside keeps all the grinding dust from embedding it everywhere in the workshop. So in my previous workshops I did everything inside, and that's not good for the machines, it's not good for your health, and you keep cleaning everything. So I try to keep the actual grinding inside to a bare minimum. Sometimes things like a complete car that does not run is inside, and then yeah, you have to, but with this I had a clear choice to work outside. When I finished the front wheels, which do not turn, I did some measurements on the body and on the frame I made so far, and I found out that it's a little bit short. And so I browsed a little bit to my supply of steel, which is getting a little bit short since I haven't got a decent supplier yet here in Sweden. So most of the things I had laying around was pipe, like a round tube. And so then I was looking outside and I saw this piece that I already cut off. I was like, it's quite a task to cut everything off that's not needed, but then in the end it's free steel and it's strong. Well, more than it's all quite rusted, but it's still more than strong enough for the thing that I need it for. So yeah, let's cut this up and remove everything from this piece of steel that's not necessary. So I like elongate the wheelbase of the dolly a little bit more. Since it was, as it was a little bit short, and then there was a big chance of it tipping over, and yeah, that's something you don't want. When people look at me cutting up this quite rare frame, because there's only like 2,000 of these Tjorvens made, I can imagine people thinking like, oh shit, that's quite a waste. Why do you waste something? You can probably make somebody happy that's like restoring a normal Tjorven, something that's not going to be a race car. But rest assured, this car is in really bad shape, as you can see here, where I peel off like thick layers of rust. And actually, if you paid really good attention in one of the few first cuts, I actually didn't have to cut one piece of the frame, one side of the frame I should say, because it already was completely rusted through. So I needed to make 3 cuts on a 4-sided piece of steel. So yeah, that says enough. It looks rusty and it looks savable, but believe me, it really is not. It's not worth the effort. You can see the amount of rust coming from the guiding disc, and it's really, really bad. So don't feel bad about me cutting up this thing. So after cutting it up, it was just a matter of welding it to the frame and then attaching some kind of point. And the actual side effect, like the silver lining of this extra work, was that I had a little bit of space extra to use a wheel bearing that was left over from a previous job on Daniel's John Cooper Works. And I could use that for as a pivoting point for the wheels to turn, because it has to. If the cart only goes forward and backwards, then it's not very useful. So I had to find a way to turn it, and actually that was kind of the thing I had the most thinking that required the most thinking in this whole project. But yeah, then I saw this old wheel bearing. You see it here in the screen now, and I was like, oh, I can use this. And also added a bolt. You can see where the line ends. This bolt is just to prevent the movement of this steering axle, so to say, because the danger with this style like this with one point that everything pivots around is that if you pivot it like 90 degrees, then it becomes very unstable all of a sudden, and it might even tip over. And this bolt ensures that it makes an pivots in like 30 to 40 degrees, which still ensures a more than enough movement freedom, but it will probably not tip over as fast as soon as something that can go all the way. cherry on the cake, we need to add a pull rod, whatever you want to call it, like proper wheelbarrows have. It didn't work in the end when I actually started to use it, and as soon as there was a little bit of resistance in the steering, then you just bend the rod. But you can pull it quite good, and as soon as everything starts to move, then it will follow. But if I need a little bit more strength in this, I'll just add some triangles. And you see me checking it out already. It's like, this is probably not going to work. But it works good enough. And as I said, if needed, then I'll just add some triangles to make everything a little bit stronger. And then we need a handle, obviously, to make life easier. Final shot, we finally get to use this the dolly. I strapped it up to the car, and I kind of like expected it to be very hard to roll through the gravel, but apparently it's really easy to move. In the next scene, you see me and my girlfriend move the car in the row of cars, but it's but also since the gravel is already a little bit frozen, it doesn't move. You don't sink in it as far as I used to. But you can see it moves quite easily. I asked my girlfriend to help, but that wasn't really necessary actually. So, but it's also fun. Always fun to do things together. That's it for this episode. Next episode, I'll tell you more about the donor car you see in the right-hand corner. Exciting times.